it's much more focused. And this is the third thing that I have been initiated into. First it was Reiki, then Wicca, and then this, and not very long ago also Muneki. They're all very related to me, but maybe not to everyone who would think about it. So, and we are not allowed to share everything we learned for various purposes or reasons, but one of them is that it may cause harm if you use just a part without knowing the wholeness of it and understanding the wholeness of it. So therefore we are not allowed to share everything, but there is a lot that can be learned through books, and which is to find out on the net as well, so on. So I will share some things at least, and hopefully you can relax. So Ayurveda means the science of life, or knowledge of life, or wisdom of life. I think it can also be translated to Veda is knowledge or science, and Ayur is life. So, and that is also why I took this name on the channel, Ayurvedica Shakti. Shakti is the female counterpart of the divine, of God, Shiva. And Shakti is also energy, the energy form. But Ayurvedica comes from Ayurveda, obviously. A made up name, yeah. And Ayurveda comes from India, and it's very, very old, the oldest medicinal system there is, at least which we have knowledge about, and it's approximately like 5,000 years old, but I don't know how old the oldest Sanskrit texts are, and there is lots of those in pergaments, and if that were written on pergaments then, but I don't know exactly the age of the oldest of those, but it were shared before then from mouth to mouth, and recited and learned, so on. So, and I've said this before, I'm sure, that for example when it comes to marma puncture or marma treatments, that when it's spread up to China, for example, that changed a bit, and then is what we call I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm a little bit tired, acupuncture, and acupressure and such. So, yeah. So, and there is so much to say about Ayurveda, so it's quite hard to fit it into in a general way. It's quite much easier to focus on one part of it, although you can speak about that also for a long, long time. But I will do my best to at least hopefully relax someone. And it's very much about wholeness, the holistic system, which includes not only the body and the mind, but also the soul and the spirit. There's someone outside my door. Let's see. No, it was my neighbor. So, and I was initiated into Ayurveda in, I'm sure it was July, at least I'm sure it was. It wasn't summer and it was full moon, maybe it's 7 years ago or so now. I have those diplomas and such framed, which I have had on the walls, but not now. And I don't recall exactly at the moment the date or even the year, you see. But yeah, something like that. And of course then the education had been for several years before then. So yeah, where to start? I have already started a bit, but where to go from here? So, anyways, I will. Some of you may know a little bit about Ayurveda, but I will pretend you don't. So, if you have heard about Ayurveda, you may have heard about Doshas, though. It's like a bioenergy system in the body, which is related to the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water and earth. And Vata is combination of ether or space and air, and Pitta of fire and a bit of water, and Kapha, water and earth. And everything have all of this. We all have all of these doshas, but in various degrees, as it should be. So it's not, the purpose is not to get those doshas in balance so that we have an equal amount of Pitta, Vata and Kapha, but it's what we search for is to find our own natural harmony with who we really are. So the basic of it is really to remember who we are, and to live in harmony with that. And the Ayurvedic doctors in India, they usually know about, they can feel the pulse as well and feel can differentiate between these Vata, Pitta and Kapha, these doshas. But the word I've learned is to differentiate between, let's see if I even remember how many pulses that is. I think it's 27 different pulses. And it's in, you feel it not as the Western pulse, but on the wrist of the hand, on specific points there. And also, depending on how hard you press, how deep in you feel the pulse, gives you other information, like how various organs in the body are, and also about your prakriti, which is the balance you're born with, the dosha balance you're born with. If you do these tests, for example, you may figure out your natural balance there, but it much shows what your balance is now. So sometimes that is an imbalance. It may show that you have a lot of vata, for example, but that may be in actual excess to what your natural state would be. So the best thing is to get a health check of some sort, and that includes so much. It takes maybe an hour to 90 minutes, and it includes a lot of questions about a lot of various things, and also pulse test and looking at everything. Well, not exactly everything, but the eyes, the tongue, and the skin, the nails. They listen to the voice. That tells a lot about someone. And a lot of more things. And also about the history. Now there was a pop-up window here. I have to take that away. So, yeah. And most importantly, to feel in the pulse then. And that verifies and confirms very much what can be seen also oftentimes, or experienced without feeling the pulse. But in the pulse, it's like they used to call it, that's where you feel the soul of the other person. And sometimes the soul doesn't want to talk actually, and then that kind of pulse can be totally quiet. You don't get any information if it doesn't want to give it to you. So that's interesting, but I've never experienced it. But one who did a pulse reading to me, actually, the one who was who taught me. She was a nurse before in operation, nurse, in operations, and before she got into Ayurveda. But anyways, she could feel my pulse once in the beginning there, and I knew that I kind of shut down, but I didn't think she would recognize it kind of in the pulse. But she said she couldn't. It didn't want to tell anything at the time. Interesting. So you always ask for permission before you put your hands on the pulse there. It's a healing procedure. Even doing that balances your doshas when you do that. So there is much more going on in a health check like this than you may think. Not everything is outspoken. So, yeah. And each person's dominant dosha, oftentimes doshas, two of them. Some have all three as dominant, but most have two, but some are one dosha types as well. But it's determined at the conception, when the sperm fertilizes the egg. And I've also heard that the soul enters the embryo when it's 40 days. Yeah, don't know about that. I mean, I don't know the whole. There may be also some variations in schools of Ayurveda, how they really see all of these things, but yeah. But to tell you a little bit about what an Ayurveda doctor or therapist would do is that when the client or patient walks into the room, is first of all to establish the predominant dosha or doshas of vata, pitta and kapha, or kapha, those elements, because depending on those, it also tells what kind of treatment would be most efficient. So every one is treated in their unique way. It's not an overall treatment for everyone who have the same symptoms, for example, but it's very individual. So it's most efficient for you, exactly. So as I said, it's checked by 3 pulses at different points at the artery just above the patient's wrists, and we have learned also to all at the same time feel these others layers as well, where you get a lot of information, but then also there will be a lot of questions about almost everything, actually, to find out as much as possible about this individual state of health, and also ancestral conditions that your father or mother or so on may have had, or grandparents, because in Ayurveda it comes very much from the Hindu traditions, and then also Buddhists did pick up a lot of Ayurveda and use Ayurveda, so they also influenced it, but the belief of karma is very much there. So it can both be factors that are, passed down through generations, or it can be our own karmic things that we carry on from life to life, or from another life. So a lot of questions. Also about diet and eating habits. That's of great importance in Ayurveda, and there is a reason why, but it's hard to go into like this. Maybe I will, in some video, draw a bit and try to explain a little bit more about that. Why it's so very important. And also questions about social behaviors and relationships, and after these stages have been completed, then there will be questions also about, of course, the particular condition or complaint with which the client or patient has come. And after these symptoms have been described, then that physical examination of the body will be done. Oftentimes, at least, it goes in this order. It can differ, but it includes these things anyways. As I said, it includes maybe I have started this 3 times before now, so I don't know if I've said this, but it includes, for example, eyes, tongue, hair, nails, skin, all kinds of things. Yeah, for example, and voice. Yeah, I guess I said that just now. Anyways, yeah, and also it's believed that different parts of the tongue correspond to organs in the body through these meridians or nadis. So that's also how you can feel the pulse related to various organs as well, and so on, and to the chakras and everything almost. And also probably you will be asked for detailed description of the color, quantity, and frequency of your urine and your bowel movements, which can feel a bit uncomfortable maybe to begin with. At first I felt a little bit uncomfortable asking about these things, but not after a while, so yeah. And there are also states of mind that are related to Vata, Pitta and Kapha as well, and that we can also be found in or can be connected to certain kinds of foods, and that is called sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. And tamasic is this base and ignorant and almost always addictive foods, for example, which makes you slow and numb, and immovable kind of. And rajasic is stimulating. That's related then to the pitta, the fiery. So stimulant, yeah, yeah, those kinds of things. And then there is sattvic, pure food, which relates to vata, and tamasic to kapha, which is more slow like that. And these can also be felt in the pulse, the state of mind, and also be corrected then by certain foods related to that as well as related to the doshas. So, and as Ayurveda teaches that all treatments work best when the patient's system is clean, a detoxification program is almost always the first measure. And sometimes it may stop there because many modern conditions are caused by an accumulation of toxic waste in the system. And when we clear that out, that often does the trick. We don't need anything else, actually. So, yeah. So, and I forgot already what I've said here. So, but Ayurveda embraces all areas of medical science, like also philosophy, psychology, and spiritual understanding, as well as astrology and astronomy. So there is a lot there that I haven't even touched on to. Although I've been interested in Ayurveda some years before I jumped onto the education in it. Not usually, but it was mainly to get well myself. So to be able to use it better myself. Yeah. So I still feel, although I've been doing this for maybe 10 years, it's still very new. There is always a lot more to learn and to update as well. But so it's good to do these videos because, it makes me stumble upon new things even or stuff that I forgot a bit about. And the dhatus, which are the various not textures in the body. I will come back to the dhatus in another video, I guess, because then I can draw and talk about it. But these, for example, different tissues is what I mean in the body. That's the English word, like even blood, fat, I don't know, everything in the body are formed from what we eat through the process of the metabolism, and that's why it's so very important that it works well. The Agni, the fire of the metabolism. So, yeah. I'm sorry, the neighbors are, I don't know what the sound is there, but never mind that. But the doshas, anyways, they are like bodily energies or bioenergies, and they influence all living matter and mental energies. They are everywhere, not only in humans. As you understand, if you think about them as combinations of the elements. So, and it seemed like the West now is very ready for Ayurveda, although there are a lot of skeptics out there. Actually, there was one who is actually, he's a firefighter that when I grew up with. It was, I have a little bit of an Ayurveda page on my Facebook, and not that I've been in contact much with this guy since we grew up, but he got so mad because it was in the beginning when I was at Facebook even, so I didn't really, now I wouldn't what do you say, ask like anybody if they would like my page maybe, but he was really pissed off because this was just like fooling people, and I don't know, he was really behaving angrily and so I was surprised because I am sure he doesn't know a whole lot about Ayurveda, otherwise he wouldn't react like that. And because even in the US, I think it's a choice, but there is, when in the medical studies as for a doctor, for example, or there is also Ayurveda taught, so you can add those classes. So it's getting more and more much of it get accepted. Maybe not the astrology part of it and such so much in the West, or there are other certain aspects that might be. There are aphrodisiacs, for example, that are used for many purposes, not only related to things that are related to sex, but also to heighten the energy level overall and so on. They can be used for many purposes, but that part is not a part of Western traditions. So, for example, but yeah, anyways, but yeah, there may be some reason why that guy reacted like that. Anyways, yeah. As I said, like the body have its own constitution, like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or the a specific balance of these, and the dominant 2 dosha, 1 dosha, or 3 dosha. There are also these 3 types of the mind: sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, which is very interesting as well. So, but I just want to mention it. I won't go into that much right now. But aside from learning this for my own purpose to take better care of myself, bodily wise mostly, because I was very ill before then, I usually like to work more on the spiritual plane, or maybe mind plane as well. So, but I won't go into that much. Yeah. So, and also the teaching of yoga is one part of Ayurveda, and chakras and all of these things that are more common now in the West, like aromatherapy, and also it took quite a while for acupuncture to even be accepted a tiny bit, but now I guess that is very much so. But some of these things have, it need to be then, the scientific tests need to be done, and in a lot of cases and so on, to make it accepted, I think. But I think also that is quite much shown, how, for example, aromatherapy, the effect it can have and so on. But then there are also sound therapy and color therapy in Ayurveda, and so many things. But according to the Asian teaching, the aim should be to enable this type of energy that is called Kundalini to move from the lowest chakra to the highest, to promote spirituality and divine knowledge. So, and really fulfill our potential as humans, and allowing powerful energies and centers to remain clear and unblocked is a highly effective form of preventive medicine, which is what Ayurveda mostly do. Of course, to correct and balance and keep that balance, but to prevent is very much much of what is done in Ayurveda. So, these elements that the universe consists of, as I said, ether, air, earth, fire, and water, and as well as the human body also is a combination of them, are called Mahabhutas. If you would like to know that, that's good. Actually, when the education there, I wonder why they always use the Sanskrit words for everything. But now I realize that, not only because of that, it's much easier to understand when I hear other talk about Ayurveda, when some of these words come up over and over, and if you have heard them a lot during the education, know what it is then, obviously. But also some of them are not easy to translate, and also not translate exactly, and also they have this the same way as sound therapy. They have Sanskrit is also perceived as a holy language, you could say, for many, and the use of certain sounds and also have effect on the body. For example, using the word prana is the same word as chi or ki in like Chinese, and meaning then life energy, Reiki, for example. And if you just use the word prana, it adds prana, is common belief because it's such a holy language. So that's also one purpose of it. So now, the more I talk about that, the more I kind of realize why he was so skeptic. That logical one, maybe. But still, I think it could be good to, before you lash out, at least to someone, to have a little bit deeper knowledge about something. Anyways, never mind about that. So and there are also like a myth about how the world came into being. And according to the ancient doctrine, the world originally consisted of pure consciousness and was non-material. Consciousness would be that Shiva part of Shakti. Consciousness and energy is the parts of, in Hinduism, of reality, you could say. Energy is the things you see. And also existence is believed to be circular rather than linear, and having no beginning and no end, and it's easy to see if you study nature or anything that's the way it is. But we, in our Western minds, have a little bit of a different way of thinking, so it's good to understand that maybe, or have that in mind when coming across some of these things. So, and also in Ayurveda, it's much worse to, for example, suppress things, emotions or whatever it is, and the urges, than to give expression to them. For example, if you need to sneeze or yawn or go to the bathroom, especially like the bowel movements, it's very important to listen to your body, what it wants, or ejaculations or whatever it is. That's or you need to sleep or eat. This is like very it seems so basic and like nothing at all to learn or think about, but many of us just don't. We suppress a lot, and that causes imbalances and blocks, which make this prana or life energy to get also blocked and not flow freely, and we don't experience fully, or experience ourselves even fully. So it can lead into all kinds of different ways which aren't all that good. So and illness strikes when the body, mind and spirit are out of harmony. And in Ayurveda, they are always there is never something that is purely physical or purely mental, or so. It's always intertwined. It is always everything is affected, and then also the cause is a combination. It's not one or the other. It's a wholeness. So when looking for ways to treat or balance things into harmony again, that's also a way to do it. to look at each of these things. And and there, for example, exercise can sometimes be suggested or promoted, but mostly it's about yoga, for example, because that brings these parts together. Yoga means that, actually, that word as well. And when we are in harmony, when we are in connection and contact in a stronger way with who we really are, then we naturally go for the things that are good for us. Then we know, we get in touch with that knowledge within. So then we don't need anyone to tell us or show us what we should prefer to eat or whatever it is. So to help someone connect with who they really are is the basic to kind of with small simple measures help someone take steps in that direction, which is the things that I do with the tarot cards and with everything that I do. That's the purpose of it. So, and when it comes to herbs that are often used as well, but food is the main medicine, I guess. But also that it's always natural and no bad side effects and so on. So still very potent or very efficient. And also many of the spices or so on that we have in the kitchen can be used very much to remedy a lot of things. So that's one of the things with Ayurveda that is very good, that it's very easy to do a lot of it yourself, but sometimes it seems too simple, so you think it's not efficient enough. So it's easy to skip because of that. But most of it's both simple to do, not complicated, but also very cheap. So, yeah. So, yeah. Even when we think that something is totally unconnected with a specific ailment or whatever is a problem for us, still it really can be more connected than we understand. And also basic lifestyle changes can have a huge effect really on our health and our body's innate ability to heal itself. Like routines, the body loves that. There are also these vata, pitta and kapha qualities in nature in the year. For example, spring is kapha, summer is pitta, winter is vata. Those qualities of these. And even for you who doesn't really feel a need to listen to more, I suggest that you still listen to the link below, because she explains also, it was a long time, many years since I heard that actually, but she explains that it's not the actual fire element as such, it's the quality of fire and the transformational ability of fire, which for vata, for example, air, it's the movement, it's the dry, there are the qualities of these elements, and she describes that very well, much better than I could, so I will just leave that now. But also at the rhythm of the day, many who listen to ASMR videos have a problem sleeping, and between 10 and 2 at night, 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. you would say that, is pitta time at night, when the body actually needs to be relaxed to cleanse the inner organs and everything, and rejuvenate the body. And if you go to bed later than 10, then the pitta energy, this fiery energy, which also is like a awakening and uplifting, that sets in, which make it harder for us to fall asleep. So if we go to bed before 10 p.m., when it's a kapha time, kapha is between 6 and 10, then it's much, much easier. If we get into that rhythm, it's much easier to fall asleep. And and between 2 and 6 is vata time. And that's the same in daytime, those rhythms. So if you get up at 6, you will be much more alert during the day than if you get up 7 or even 9, when the kapha is like a heavy kapha, like slow and dull. Then you will be quite tired, mostly much more tired than if you go up 6 or before 6 in the morning. And but 7 might be okay because the influence of vata is still there, and so but the longer you sleep that time, the harder it gets until the pitta time starts. Then again, 10 to 2, and then we should eat our largest meal because the metabolism is at its highest then, so we can take up nourishments and process the food much better at that time than later at night. So maybe a smaller amount of food at dinner time in the evening. So many of these things relates also to then the rhythms of our lives and our days, and also when to exercise and so on. The body is the strongest in the morning. So there is a lot of things that obviously I want to go into all of that. But as I said, the Prakriti is the individual constitution, and that is what we seek to get into balance with. And when we are in touch with that, we have the instinct that animals who are not out of balance, most animals have that instinct pretty clear. We get in touch with that also, so we automatically we know, or instinctively we know, we don't want things that would be unbalanced for us then. So and also, although this come from the Hindu and from also influenced by Buddhism and such, it's applicable to everyone, everywhere, regardless of the religion or culture. This is energies that we all have and are. It's universal. Ayurveda is universal. It's not some of the concepts and some of the myths of the beginning of it, or maybe it's reality as well, but that may be very influenced by the religious belief systems at that time. But it's not needed to be, to think about that to benefit from the teachings of Ayurveda. So, and Ayurveda practitioners believe in reincarnation, that the soul has, or spirit at death continues its existence in another physical form, and also that we bring with us stuff from before as well. So some of the things we have we may need to heal things further back sometimes. And as I said, it does not advocate extreme asceticism or something like that, but rather the Buddhist doctrine of the middle road, or moderation in all things, which is very good for me to learn. I don't know if they pick up trash outside now or something. It makes a lot of sounds here. I'm sorry about that, but I will go on. And even though the doshas themselves cannot be seen, but their influence can be monitored, so it's easy to see them when you have learned about the doshas. And for example, now my mom, she's very, very sensitive to learn things, and I think maybe we all are, but if you have someone beside you who can show you how to feel, then it could be easier, because I've taught her to feel those at least the basic pulses when, for example, the vata is too high, or the pitta or kapha. So, and she feels the difference between them very easily. Often they are described as the vatapulse is like a snake. It's like moving in that snaky way, and also like and now I just know Swedish words to describe it, but like tiny, I don't know how to say. It's a movement rather than a shaky movement rather than a pulse movement. While pitta is very, very, very firm, solidly a pulse, sometimes even very sharp, like fire can be. And kapha is like a bubble almost. It's called a swan, while the pitta is called a frog pulse. And yeah, the kapha pulse is very not so distinct, and that sometimes can be if someone have a lot of mala or ama in the body, rest products, then that can hide the pulse, so you don't feel the exact pulse. And so if you have a lot of that, you can mistake that for kapha, while it's actually the ama which makes it a little bit more unclear. But the kapha pulse is very soft and yeah, I feel like it's bubbly. Not a bubbly, but like a one bubble. Yeah, like a swan would be better, like they used to call it. And yeah, so that's good. If you don't know just by how you feel, if you're very hot, probably your pitta is heightened, and if you're very cold, it's vata is heightened, and if you feel very heavy or so on, or depressed even such, maybe kapha, too much of kapha. So so, but it's easier if you can just feel it in your pulse yourself, obviously. But there are so many ways to to monitor it, or to understand. If you get very angry, your pitta is heightened, and if you get anxiety and stuff, the vata is heightened, or fear. Sadness is mostly related to kapha, but not that it's bad or anything. It's just when it goes overboard. And many of us who experience ASMR, and I'm very sensitive. If someone do, for example, like a pressure on me on the head, I can feel it in my toes. I feel the whole meridian all the way. So I guess I feel the meridians sometimes a little bit more than others in other places as well. I've learned to understand. I mean, other places than at least than many of the ones who are talk about ASMR. But anyways, I experience it the same way as far as I know. But I think we are mostly either we have the vata constitution very much, or our vata is very disturbed, so it's unbalanced. We have too much of vata. So either or. But I guess the ones who feel that, who get the ASMR, is the ones who also have a lot of vata. That's quite obvious to me, and to anyone who would know about ASMR and Ayurveda would say so, I think. Also, vata is connected to the ears, to hearing, very, very affected by hearing, by sounds, while pitta is very much so by the eyes, what we see. So, yeah. And kapha more scent and taste and such. Yeah. And vata also touch. Yeah. So, okay, I won't go into them. So now I start to stroke with my nails and my arm. Gosh, I just must stop, or I can't continue this. So, yeah. And I guess I said that, but to translate all these texts, the Sanskrit texts about Ayurveda would take a lifetime to understand them fully. Not even that. I think we couldn't do that in a lifetime. It's so much. So, but yeah, about this Kundalini rising again. which is maybe not expressed as the purpose, but it's very much of the purpose, and that can be achieved with meditation, yoga, chakra massage, or mama puncture, and these are things also that are much more common now, that many use, so that's good. Yeah, to open up these channels so the energy can expand. Yeah. And although the remedies we prescribe are highly effective, none have adverse side effects, and all are made from natural substances and are non-toxic. There are no artificial materials or chemicals concocted in a laboratory that are used. But if you should, for example, get an idea of figuring something out yourself and look up at the net and order them, that's not a good idea, because as in every area there are fake stuff, and there are those who want to just make money on stuff and such, and that it can be really toxic, it can be really dangerous. So I advise you not to do that, even if you feel that, well, you have read that this herb or whatever herb medicine should be good, and then don't just order it online, but go to a therapist or a doctor in Ayurveda, or at least know exactly from what treatment center or so on it would be from. But best is to that therapist or doctor would give you also advice on what you need. As I said, the detoxification is important or necessary for you to even in a good way pick up the nourishment or the treatments of, for example, other herbs as well. And so to just start mixing with it yourself is not recommended, because it won't give as good an effect. Yeah. And I guess I said that again. I repeat that, but some people forget that yoga is actually one part of Ayurveda. It comes from Ayurveda. So, yeah, and the food we eat directly affects the individual doshic state or our prakriti. So if we can easily get out of balance if we not eat according to what is most balancing for us, obviously. Yeah. But there is a lot of things that affects the doshas, as I said, the season, time of the day, but some are just temporarily, while some are more stick. For example, if we are in a very loud environment, we may need to balance our vata very, very much then to compensate to that, if we can't figure a way at the time to find another environment. But it affects us a lot. But yeah, everything that we ingest, even if it's not through the mouth but through the eyes or ears or with all our senses, everything affects who we are and our doshas, obviously, as well. Yeah, and also when it comes to these, the mind, it's also so very interesting, and there is no end to that. So I won't talk much about that, but it offers useful and interesting insights into the psychological and behavioral characteristics as well. And if you have done this for a while, it becomes a lifestyle. I wish I lived it more. I could be more balanced, obviously, but it's still it's really clear when you see or hear other with certain so-called diagnosis or whatever they call it, but you see very clearly that this exactly is what dosha that needs balancing, and you know how And also the easy ways, how easy it can be to balance that. And it's not like an idea, because it's really efficient if you try it. And especially if you work with it, you start to see it not only in yourself being very efficient, but around you all the time. So, yeah, I wish that more of this knowledge were known, because then a lot of then some of those diagnoses would be just vata imbalance or pitta imbalance or kapha imbalance, such. So, and that could be balanced pretty easily. Yeah, and as I said about Ayurveda and the concept of karma, and the Sanskrit word means action or fate, that to me at least, I guess there are variations in how to view this, but to me at least, it's very much lessons in love. It's not a punishment system of, okay, you did wrong, so then in your next life you will be punished for it. It's not like that. It's just like, well, for example, I need to understand it from another perspective. So it's a learning process, and I think it's all governed by or infused with, or it's all love. So it's nothing else than a way to learn. Yeah. Yeah, and it's Ayurveda has a strong interest in prevention, as I said, but when illness does strike, Ayurveda has a wide range of treatments to help the body to heal itself. And as I said, with no side effects, some of the Ayurveda herbs, for example, should not be combined with some Western medicines or so on. That could be tricky sometimes, but all of that is checked up beforehand. So, but otherwise, there is no dangers in any of them, although they are very efficient. So, and just that, because if you need to, oftentimes also just cover a symptom, sort of, rather than go to the root, which Ayurveda very much do. Then you will have to add more and more medications, which also them have all of those side effects, and it's just a mess. So if it's possible to avoid, that's advisable. So, and sometimes Ayurveda is considered as a fossilized, folklore-based medicine, but it's a relevant, dynamic, highly sophisticated and advanced system, which can meet the needs of demanding Western patients. And I think more and more it opens up for Ayurveda. I hope I can do my little part. Not maybe through this video, but yeah. But it is the oldest healing system known, and also the most complete. So just for that part, it's interesting for anyone who is interested in humanity and development and whatever. So yeah. So. And it differs if you first time come to an Ayurveda therapist, it takes at least, I'm sure, 90 minutes to do the health check, because if you come back and so on, you will know some of the things already. But still, every time you go through a lot of it again to see where you're at now, and of course check the pulse and all that. My little cat, she sleeps in a little box that I got from a lovely person, and she's so cute. She just turns around. She loves that one. She has so many places, and I've bought like, she has 3 of those climbing trees, and she have other like which I would consider better or cozier places to sleep. She have 2 of those boxes, travel boxes, and she have like other boxes she could crawl into, but she just loves that one. She has 2. Oh gosh, she is really Pitta, this one. But also Vata, I think, the cat, because she is very slim. She doesn't eat much. And that is strange because I'm a Vata. But actually, when I don't eat addictively, I'm pretty thin in my natural state. But I'm in an imbalanced state right now. And that's why I shy away from doing videos about Ayurveda, because I feel I can't promote it well if I'm not in a better place, balance myself. So hopefully I will be and do more of those videos later when I can also mix, like, I don't know, tinctures and stuff, and show you simple remedies for simple things, just for fun, and not just for fun, but also for the good of it. But that will be cool. But I don't feel that I'm there right now. Anyways, as I said, these 3 bioenergies, known as the doshas, exist in all matter and are composed of different combinations of the 5 elements. And but this angry cat is absolutely Pitta. She has so much Pitta, and she has such a strong will. Pitta persons are oftentimes. Actually, my teacher told me that. I think it's not a secret to tell. She was having a lecture for police officers once, and she told them to feel their pulse and how they should hold and what they would feel. So, and I won't tell all around that. But anyways, because most of those who go into that field have a lot of Pitta, because otherwise you wouldn't be. I mean, certain types are drawn to certain, for example, mediums and psychics have a lot of Vata always. They can have other things as well, but almost every police have a lot of Pitta. So she said that to them, where they could feel the pulse, and so also before they, she asked them, I think, to hold up their hands, those who felt that Pitta pulse. And they all did that. Maybe someone didn't feel anything or so, but it's fun. Anyways, also those who have this competition drive, a whole lot of that, have a lot of Pitta, wants to win and such. And I don't have a lot of Pitta. I can get really fast angry quickly, but it goes away like for after a second. I can't hold grudges. I'm just the worst even at doing it. Some people don't take me seriously because I can get really angry, but then it's all gone by a second later. I can't keep it so well. So they don't think even that I mean it seriously sometimes, since I can get all cheerful and so on just a moment after. But I mean it. It's just blown away afterwards. Since I'm a Vata, it blows fast by. But this little one, she's really ambitious as well. If she wants something, you really know it. She screams right out at you, and she doesn't stop. She's really, really stubborn. She stares at you and really talk and tell you that what you need to do. So, my lovely cat. Anyways. And also generally to just give one piece of advice, which is also very, that's just, it feels like nothing, but it's so very important. But that says that the more we live in harmony with nature, the more balanced our doshas become, obviously, because we are a part of nature. We are nature. We are life itself. So there is a number of principles that are designed designed to establish and maintain harmony in the body, mind, and spirit, and with the world outside the self as well. Yeah. And it's very interesting to learn. So I love it if you come with questions. Or if you tell me if you know about something and want to tell, that's okay too. I love that too. Yeah. So I don't know what more to say. Well, at the heart of Ayurveda lies the understanding that all is one. The oneness. That everything exists in relation to something else and not in isolation. So that's also this wholeness of how we are affected by the environment, not only the nature, like the seasons, but also those we have around us. Everything has an impact and influence on who we are, and we also have an impact and influence ourselves. And as I said, the efficient elimination of waste products, malas, is as important as eating and drinking the right nutrients. So it's maybe even more important. And ama is the name for digestive waste. And it's also said in Ayurveda that which make you happy. I mean, if you feel, for example, when it comes to exercise, if you exercise very hard in some way and you feel, or it doesn't even have to be hard really, but if you don't like it, if you're bored by it and you don't feel joy from it at all or anything, then it can actually be more harmful than good for you. And at least if you do the same thing and feel happy while doing it, that gives so much more to the body than if you do the same thing but don't feel that at the same time. So it's good to find a balance of pleasure, sort of, and also to do. There is a saying about doing it 50%. If you feel like you could run, let's say, I don't know for how long. I can't run for long. I would be so exhausted. But for however long. That you should stop halfway through what you can cope with, because if you continue doing 50% of your capacity, you will soon be at 100%, if you say. But then you can do 50 more, if you understand. You will add up to that, and you will not harm yourself, and you will not give up, because it won't be too hard. So that's also one Ayurvedic principle, sort of. And the same thing when it comes to eating. If you feel that something, if you know, for example, that something is not good to eat, it's very bad even for you, or drink. If you feel joy while doing it, if you really enjoy it or feel pleasure from that taste or what it is, then you will also benefit from it more than if you maybe not than if you would eat anything healthy or drink anything healthy, but almost. At least you would suffer more from it if you did feel bad at the same time. I hope I didn't explain that too complicated. And I think I said this in the last video as well, that on the tongue there are various, these are known by others than Ayurveda, but there are various places on the tongue where we feel different tastes. And if we talk about in Ayurveda about 6 tastes that you should include every day in the food somehow, or over the day, even if it's not in the same meal, always. It also relates to these meridians in the body, because if one area never gets anything, then that gets numb and blocked, clogged up. So that's also important. It's important for many other reasons as well. It stimulates all of our senses. It relates to so many things. And also we feel more full and satisfied when we have had all these tastes than if we just have one. Then we want more and more and more of that. I know that. With sugar, so for example. And when it comes to the taste sweet, for example, ghee or clarified butter is what is considered sweet. Rice is what is considered sweet. Fruit, of course, and such. So it doesn't have to be like candy. So, yeah. So, and also, yeah, it's about having a long, healthy, and happy life, really, and helping others to reach that goal, which they supposedly have too. So, yeah. And as I said, it's although it's has its origin in Hindu belief, it's also hand in hand with Buddhism. So, yeah. And also there are, let's say, steam baths, inhalation treatments, different massages, herbal therapy, to fasting, do you say? Well, when you don't eat, and various ways of detoxification. And these have been parts of, as well as aromatherapy, have been part of the Ayurvedic medical practice for thousands of years. So although some of these things are new in the Western traditions, it have been practiced for a very long time. Yeah. And it's said that, I don't know if this was then 5,000 years ago or not so long ago, I'm not sure, but it said that humans then, when they were affected by diseases, some rishis, wise men, gathered near the Himalayas to find a solution to conquer disease, and they all went to a state of deep meditation and knowledge, and and knowledge was transmitted to them by a supreme god. I think it was Indra. No, I'm not sure. Never mind about that. But these rishis were holy men, which had these also psychic abilities and such. So they got this information about Ayurveda, and which some of the things they did so far back is something that medical science now figure out. So it's very interesting. Yeah. I could go into specifics about that as well, but I won't do that now. Yeah. So, and the aim is to recreate harmony as far as possible, or keep the harmony. If it's harmony, then to prevent it to go out of balance. So, and every human being is unique. Nobody have the exact same balance of the doshas, even like a fingerprint or such things. So we are not exactly like anybody else, and that is fundamental also to the way Ayurvedic doctors or therapists treat their patients or clients. So yeah, but those rishis, anyways, they aim to learn how to eradicate illness and disease from the world, and so they got the knowledge, all this knowledge to them. Yeah, I've said enough of the elements and the doshas for now, I think. But really, add this link, or watch that as well if you want to learn a bit more about it, because I think it's good. Yeah. And about Vata also, that is considered to be the most influential of the doshas, as it guides all the bodily functions and the main principles, and is the main principle, of movement in the body. So Vata is kind of the leader, maybe not as forcefully as Pittas, but still. Yeah. And when it comes to the Marma points and Marma treatments, it's, as I said also, it's to unblock the energy and allow prana, life energy, to flow freely and so eliminate disease. I think I just repeated a whole lot of things in all directions here, but maybe something was new, or something you could which could help you in some way. So I know for sure that when it comes to my own overeating or sugar addiction, now I'm off sugar, but I'm still have a hard time to totally eat balanced. And I know that really affects me. Both, I will always be in all directions, but I'm much more, I'm so different when I eat well. So hopefully that will someday show up more in the videos, so you hear the more clear minded me. Yeah, just let's hope. So then the kapha, or the tamasic influence on my mind will ease up a bit. So yeah, so I will just stop now. It's very hot in here as usual, so but I hope it was not too disturbing with all the sounds, and that you can relax. I'm happy the cat is quite calm, as she's not often. Yeah, I'm just sending you lots of love then, and next I will go into the, I will don't go into the Munaki. Oh, I thought I would go to the different ways of divination and such, but no, Munaki is the next, my favorite thing. So, but if you have questions of this, on this, or maybe I will just come up with anything else that I will make a short, or I should never say short, but make some other video about Ayurveda as well. But this is a little bit, anyways. Yeah, talk to you soon, sweet ones. We are one. Much love.